Urgent, surprising news about Deandre Ayton, the new Lakers signing. Stay until the end to find out everything, but first leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Lakers news. Deandre Ayton is looking to reshape his legacy in the NBA as he steps into a new chapter with the Los Angeles Lakers. After parting ways with the Portland Trail Blazers, the 26-year-old center finds himself in a prime position to restart his career and potentially become the starting big man for one of the most storied franchises in basketball history. There's still a long off-season ahead before we see whether Ayton can meet expectations on the court, but former player Mychal Thompson is already optimistic about the impact he could have. "I believe Deandre is a fantastic acquisition for the Lakers. He's an ideal center for this group," said Thompson, a two-time NBA champion with the franchise. "He's a strong pick-and-roll partner for Luka Doncic because he can finish above the rim and also score with his back to the basket. That's his biggest strength. He's not just a lob threat. I'm betting he'll be even more motivated to show those extra skills here in LA." Ayton certainly brings a diverse skill set to the table, just as Thompson describes. But there's a reason he became available on the open market. Despite his talent, there's often been a gap between what he's capable of and what he consistently delivers, particularly on the defensive end. His effort and engagement have been sources of frustration for previous teams. Still, the Lakers legend believes that this new environment could bring out a better version of the center. Deandre has the tools to be a star. He just needs to perform at that level consistently, Thompson acknowledged. "I understand the skepticism some fans may have about this signing, but I truly believe in his basketball abilities. Wearing a Lakers jersey is a privilege that comes with great responsibility. I think he'll take that seriously and show the world what he's really made of." Mychal Thompson has actually been a long-time admirer of Ayton's potential. Back in 2018, when Ayton was taken first overall in the NBA draft, Thompson was among those who believed the Bahamian center could become a perennial all-star. Despite the presence of future stars like Luka Doncic and Trae Young in that draft class, the Suns chose Ayton at number 1. Now, Thompson sees the Lakers as a rare second chance for the big man to fulfill that early promise. "When he was picked first, I genuinely thought he'd be a multi-time all-star," Thompson recalled. "But up until now, he hasn't quite lived up to that potential. He's underperformed, plain and simple. This is his chance to flip the script, to show that he belongs on this kind of stage. That's all I want from him." Thompson's faith in Ayton goes even further. He once compared him to NBA legend David Robinson during the Suns' run to the finals in 2021. Ayton was the starting center for Phoenix during that impressive playoff push. "I still think he has that level of talent," Thompson said. "But his intensity comes and goes. Ultimately, it's all up to him. He can be as great as he wants to be. The question is, does he want it enough?" Interestingly, Ayton wasn't the typical type of center many expected the Lakers to target. A player like Doncic is generally more accustomed to working with rim-running bigs who primarily focus on defense and putbacks. Ayton, on the other hand, has always demanded more touches and offensive involvement. Nevertheless, Thompson believes Ayton can adjust to the Lakers' system, and that this is a pivotal moment in his career to prove his adaptability. "Deandre's top priority should be rim protection and rebounding," Thompson emphasized. "You don't have to be the focal point of the offense to have a major impact. There will be nights where Luka, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, or Rui Hachimura take over offensively. In those moments, Ayton needs to recognize that his ability to dominate the glass and defend the paint can win games." With the stage set in Los Angeles and expectations high, the spotlight is once again on Deandre Ayton. This time the challenge is not just proving his talent, it's proving his willingness to give everything on both ends of the floor. As Deandre Ayton prepares for his first season in a Lakers uniform, the pressure surrounding his arrival is palpable. Los Angeles is not just another NBA city, it's a global spotlight. Playing for the Lakers means living under constant scrutiny, and for Ayton that comes with added expectations. After a tumultuous stretch in Phoenix and an underwhelming stint in Portland, the narrative around him has shifted from potential star to question mark. Now he must confront that perception head-on. No one understands that pressure better than Mychal Thompson. As a former champion and father to Klay Thompson, Michael has seen what it takes to thrive under the bright lights. His endorsement of Ayton isn't based on blind hope. It's rooted in years of watching the center up close and recognizing the untapped potential within him. "DeAndre's been misunderstood," Michael said in a recent interview. "People think he's lazy or lacks passion, but I don't see that. What I see is a player who hasn't found the right environment yet. Some guys need the right system, the right coach, the right teammates to bring out the best in them. I believe this Lakers team can be that for him." The Lakers' current roster is filled with veteran stars and rising talent. With names like LeBron James and Luka Doncic leading the charge, Ayton won't be the central figure. But that may work in his favor. In Phoenix, there were moments when Ayton seemed burdened by the expectations of being a former #1 pick. In LA, he can focus on being a piece of a greater puzzle, rather than the entire picture. Still, fans and analysts are skeptical. Questions linger. Can Ayton commit to playing high-level defense consistently? Will he accept a role that doesn't revolve around post touches and isolation plays? Does he have the mental toughness to thrive in one of the most demanding markets in sports? "Look, he's got the physical tools to be elite," Michael insisted. 7 feet tall, athletic, strong hands, good footwork. He can switch, he can block shots, he can run the floor. But the NBA is about more than just tools. It's about attitude. That's what he has to develop now. The killer instinct. The willingness to do the dirty work, especially when the ball isn't in his hands. Ayton's previous teams often struggled to get consistent effort out of him on the defensive end. Coaches and teammates alike voiced frustration with his motor, particularly in key moments. But Michael sees something different on the horizon. He believes that being surrounded by leaders like LeBron and Doncic will challenge Ayton in ways he hasn't experienced before. "You can't slack off when you're sharing the court with legends," he said. "There's accountability in this locker room. DeAndre will have no choice but to raise his level, or he'll get left behind. And I think that's exactly what he needs." The transition won't be simple though. Ayton has always been a player who values touches and offensive rhythm. Fitting into a team where he's likely the 4th or 5th option may test his patience. But as Michael sees it, that adjustment is necessary if Ayton truly wants to rewrite his story. "There are nights when you won't get 10 shots. Maybe not even 5, Michael warned. But you still have to impact the game, with defense, with energy, with hustle. If he embraces that mindset, he'll win over the fans fast. Ayton's ability to dominate the glass, alter shots, and finish around the rim has never been in doubt. It's his consistency, both mental and physical, that has drawn criticism. In Los Angeles, where every possession matters and every mistake is magnified, that consistency will define his season. Still, for all the doubts, Michael Thompson remains one of Ayton's biggest believers. He sees this opportunity not just as a lifeline, but as a launching pad. "This isn't just about reviving his career," Michael said. "It's about reshaping how people see him. If he embraces the challenge, he could become the player we all thought he'd be in 2018. And what better place to do that than in purple and gold?" Ayton's journey with the Lakers is just beginning, but the tone has already been set. He's no longer the young star with limitless upside. He's the veteran trying to silence the critics. And in a city that demands greatness, there's only one way to respond: deliver. There's something different about putting on the Lakers jersey. It's not just another uniform, it represents a lineage of greatness. From Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson to Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, the purple and gold come with immense pride, but also immense pressure. DeAndre Ayton knows this. He's not just walking into any team, he's entering a franchise with expectations rooted in decades of winning culture. Ayton, a native of the Bahamas, has long been considered a physical marvel. He has the size, touch, and mobility that most centers dream of. But while his tools earned him the #1 pick in the 2018 NBA draft, his path hasn't mirrored that of other top picks. Where others took off and solidified their legacies early, Ayton's journey has been filled with inconsistency and unmet expectations. "People sometimes forget what kind of talent DeAndre has," Michael Thompson said. "When you're the first overall pick, there's this immediate spotlight. If you're not dominating from day one, critics come fast. But talent doesn't always bloom on a schedule. Some guys take longer to find themselves. In Los Angeles, Ayton has a rare opportunity to redefine how the basketball world sees him. No longer the focal point of a rebuilding project like in Phoenix, nor part of a team in transition like Portland, he now joins a team with a defined structure and a clear identity. The Lakers know who they are. Ayton must now figure out where he fits. That process begins with humility. Ayton will be playing alongside generational talents. Luka Doncic, now a Laker through a blockbuster trade, is one of the best playmakers in the game. LeBron James, even in his later years, remains a strategic genius and leader. For Ayton, the challenge isn't just physical, it's mental. He must learn how to thrive without being the center of attention. I think it's good for him, Michael noted. Being in a situation where you don't have to carry everything, where the expectations are shared, that could take the weight off his shoulders. Sometimes when a guy isn't asked to be the man, he ends up playing freer with more joy. That's what I want to see from Deandre. Yet, the Lakers won't accept anything less than full effort. It's one thing to accept a role, it's another to commit fully to excelling within it. Ayton's task is to become a defensive anchor, a reliable rebounder, and a finisher around the rim, every night. That means being locked in from the opening tip to the final buzzer. There are examples within the franchise to look to. Players like Dwight Howard, who redefined his career during a Lakers title run by embracing a supporting role. Or Andrew Bynum, who thrived as a traditional big man by keeping things simple. Protect the paint, run the floor, and dominate the boards. If Deandre buys in, he could be the best version of himself, Michael said. There's no need for 20 shots a night. Just do the dirty work, stay engaged on defense, and let the game come to you. If he does that, the fans will love him. The Los Angeles market is unforgiving, but also rewarding. When players show heart, effort, and dedication, the city embraces them. But when they coast or fail to rise to the moment, the criticism is swift and unrelenting. Ayton's image took a hit over the past few seasons. Some questioned his work ethic. Others doubted his passion for the game. Now, in a franchise that demands excellence, he has the chance to answer those doubts with action. This is a new chapter, Michael concluded. He's no longer the young kid in Phoenix. He's a grown man now with a chance to lead by example, not just with numbers but with presence. If he approaches this the right way, it could be the turning point in his career. Ayton's time in LA won't be judged solely by statistics. It will be measured by effort, by impact, by moments. Can he make the key block in the final minute? Can he chase down a rebound with the game on the line? Can he lift his teammates through effort when the offense isn't clicking? Those are the moments that define Laker legends. And those are the moments Ayton must now seek out. Every game, every possession, every opportunity. For Deandre Ayton, redemption won't come from a highlight dunk or a 20-point scoring night. It will come from effort, gritty, unglamorous, relentless effort. The kind of effort that doesn't always show up in the box score but wins games and earns respect. And in Los Angeles, respect is everything. The Lakers didn't bring Ayton in to be a superstar. They already have those. Luka Doncic controls the offense with his dazzling court vision. LeBron James, even as he edges closer to retirement, remains a cerebral force with gravity few players can match. What the Lakers needed was a center who could do the dirty work. Someone who would box out, defend the rim, and stay locked in even without touches. Now it's up to Ayton to become that guy. Everyone thinks of scoring when they hear the word impact, said Michael Thompson. But for Deandre, his impact has to come on the defensive end. That's where he can change games. A timely block. A contested shot. Securing a tough rebound in traffic. That's what will define his success here. In Phoenix, there were flashes of this version of Ayton. During the 2021 playoff run, he anchored the Suns' defense and played with consistent energy. But those flashes were too fleeting. As seasons went on, so did concerns about his motor, his focus, and his willingness to embrace a role that didn't revolve around scoring. Now in Los Angeles, those concerns are front and center. Lakers coaches have already spoken publicly about the importance of defense and accountability. Their message is simple: effort is non-negotiable. Playing in LA isn't about coasting, one assistant coach recently told reporters. It's about showing up ready to battle every single night. You either rise to that challenge, or the fans will let you know. For Ayton, that message has to hit differently now. He's no longer a young prospect figuring things out. He's 26, entering what should be the prime of his career. The excuses are gone. The opportunity is clear. And according to Michael Thompson, that could be exactly what he needs. There comes a point in every player's career where they realize it's now or never, he said. This might be that moment for Deandre. If he really locks in, he could be one of the best big men in the league. But it's all about mentality now. That mentality shift begins with understanding that impact doesn't always come through points. In fact, Ayton's best games with the Lakers may be the ones where he only scores 8 or 10 points, but grabs 14 rebounds, changes multiple shots, and sets hard screens that free up Doncic or LeBron. It's about mastering the little things. Rolling hard to the basket even when you know you won't get the ball, just to collapse the defense. Communicating on switches. Boxing out for your teammates. Running the floor on every transition. Those are the habits that win championships, Michael emphasized. And that's what the Lakers are about. Not stats. Not personal glory. Winning. Still, this transformation won't happen overnight. Ayton will have to fight through old habits. There will be games where frustration creeps in, where he touches the ball less than he'd like or feels overlooked in the offense. But that's when the growth will be tested. Will he stay engaged? Will he dig deeper? Because if he does, he'll not only help the Lakers, he'll reshape his own reputation. He's got a clean slate here, Michael said. The past doesn't matter. What matters is what he does now, today, tomorrow, this season. LA is watching. The league is watching. And I hope he's ready to show them who he really is. The truth is, Ayton doesn't need to become a new player. He just needs to become the best version of the one he already is, consistent, aggressive, focused. That alone could elevate both his game and the Lakers' championship hopes. And in a city that thrives on redemption stories, Ayton has the chance to write his own. Back in 2018, when Deandre Ayton heard his name called as the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft, the room erupted in applause. He stood tall on that stage, wearing a suit that barely contained his frame, eyes full of pride and promise. For a moment it felt like destiny. The Phoenix Suns had chosen him to be their franchise cornerstone, the face of their future. But now, 7 years later, Ayton walks into the Lakers' practice facility with something he didn't have then: doubt. Not from scouts or executives. From the fans, the media, and maybe even himself. When I saw him drafted first overall, I was convinced he'd be a perennial all-star, Michael Thompson recalled. He had all the tools, the body, the hands, the footwork. I thought, this guy's going to dominate. But it didn't unfold that way. That's not to say Ayton hasn't been productive. He's averaged a double-double for most of his career. He's played in an NBA Finals. He's been efficient, dependable, and healthy. But he hasn't taken over games consistently, and in the minds of many, that makes his early career a disappointment, especially when players like Luka Doncic and Trae Young, drafted after him, have blossomed into superstars. That comparison has followed Ayton like a shadow. People love to look at the guys picked after you, Michael said. They look at Luka and say, that should have been the guy. But that's unfair. DeAndre's journey is different. He's a center in a league that doesn't prioritize centers the way it used to. He hasn't been in the best situations either. It matters. Indeed, fit is everything in the NBA. Ayton entered a Suns organization still trying to find its identity. He played with multiple point guards before Chris Paul finally brought structure. And even then, tension reportedly grew between Ayton and head coach Monty Williams, particularly around his role and motor. Some guys need encouragement, consistency, belief, Michael noted. If you keep switching systems, changing roles, criticizing publicly, that messes with a player's head. Especially someone like Deandre, who clearly thrives when he feels trusted. Now in Los Angeles, Ayton gets a reset. But the league hasn't forgotten. The labels, underachiever, soft, unmotivated, still cling to his name in basketball discourse. Every missed rotation or half-hearted box out becomes a reason to question his will. Every quiet night adds fuel to the fire. But this pressure, this narrative also gives Ayton a rare chance. The chance to flip the script entirely. This is a golden opportunity, Michael emphasized. Not every player gets this. He's in the biggest market. On one of the most iconic teams. Playing next to LeBron and Luka. With the world watching. If that doesn't light a fire under you, nothing will. Ayton doesn't need to outscore Doncic or outshine LeBron. He just needs to show the NBA world that he belongs, that he can be trusted, counted on, and respected. He has the opportunity to rewrite how his career is remembered. There's something powerful about being doubted, Michael said. Because if you use it right, it can drive you to places even belief never could. Ayton's story isn't written in stone. Not yet. He still has time, still has talent, and now he has urgency. He's no longer the hyped rookie, he's the player fighting to be taken seriously again. And maybe that's exactly the fuel he needs. As training camp nears, coaches have praised his effort and engagement. Teammates have spoken about his focus. He's saying the right things, doing the right things. But everyone knows the real test comes when the lights go on. When the season begins. When the pressure gets real. Because that's when legacies are made. Or lost. Ayton's redemption won't be about proving he's better than Luka or Trey. It will be about proving he's the best version of himself. And if he succeeds, it'll be a comeback story for the ages. One that started not with cheers but with doubt. Wearing the purple and gold means more than playing basketball. It means representing a legacy. The Los Angeles Lakers aren't just another team in the NBA. They are a global brand, a franchise steeped in history and greatness. That's the jersey Deandre Ayton wears now. And with that comes a pressure he's never truly experienced before. In Phoenix, Ayton was expected to grow into a star. In Portland, he was expected to survive amid chaos. But in Los Angeles, he's expected to win now. Every game, every possession, every minute is scrutinized. And the margin for error? Almost non-existent. Playing for the Lakers is a different beast, Michael Thompson said. It's not like any other franchise. Every mistake is magnified. Every success is expected. There are banners hanging over your head, literally, reminding you that anything short of greatness isn't enough. That pressure has crushed some. It's hardened others. The city of Los Angeles has a long memory and little patience. When you perform, they love you. When you fall short, the criticism comes loud and fast. For Ayton, that spotlight can either be a burden or a source of fuel. He's got to embrace it, Michael emphasized. He can't shy away from the expectations. This is where stars are made. If he steps up and delivers, people will forget about everything that came before. But if he folds under the weight, it'll follow him forever. That's the line Ayton walks now. He's not just trying to play well, he's trying to prove he can thrive under immense pressure. He's trying to show he belongs in a place where greatness is the standard, not the goal. The Lakers fan base is passionate, intense, and demanding. They cheer louder than anyone, but they also boo louder than anyone. If Ayton shows hustle, fire, and a willingness to sacrifice, the city will get behind him. If he looks detached or disengaged, the crowd will let him hear it. You've got to give the fans something to believe in, Michael said. They don't ask for perfection. They ask for effort. If they see you diving for loose balls, contesting shots, running the floor, they'll respect you. Respect. That's what Ayton is after. Not just from fans but from the league as a whole. For years he's heard the same criticism. Doesn't play hard enough, lacks fire, doesn't want it badly. Some of it has been fair, some exaggerated. But the perception stuck. Now, with the Lakers, he has the opportunity to reshape how people talk about him. You can't control everything, Michael added, but you can control how hard you play. That's what separates the good from the great, consistency of effort. The Lakers coaching staff has laid out a clear role for Ayton. Anchor the defense, rebound aggressively, be a vertical threat in the pick and roll, and stay ready to impact the game without needing 20 touches. If he excels in that role, he could become the perfect glue piece in a title-contending roster. But excelling in that role also means letting go of the idea that he needs to prove himself through scoring. Ayton's greatness won't be measured in points, but in presence. His presence in the paint. His presence on defense. His presence as a physical force that shifts games without needing to dominate the box score. This isn't about touches anymore, Michael said. It's about trust. Can the coaching staff trust him? Can his teammates trust him to battle every night? If the answer becomes yes, watch out. In practices, the signs have been encouraging. Ayton's energy has been described as renewed. He's speaking up more, taking leadership in film sessions, and showing greater intensity in drills. Small things, yes, but they matter. Because in Los Angeles, everything matters. The weight of expectations is real. But it's also what makes the journey worthwhile. If Ayton can meet the moment, if he can turn pressure into performance, he won't just change the way people see him. He'll become part of Lakers history. And for a player once seen as a missed opportunity, that would be the ultimate statement. Before Deandre Ayton became a Laker, before he was the #1 pick, before he set foot on an NBA court, there was a kid in the Bahamas dreaming of the big stage. His story began on the island, far from the bright lights of Los Angeles, where raw talent and towering height made him a local legend before he ever learned how to fully use them. It's easy to forget those origins. The NBA machine moves quickly, and narratives take hold fast. But to understand Ayton's present, and what could come next, we must look back at the steps he's already taken. Ayton's early years were shaped by rapid expectations. At 15 he was already being labeled a future star. He left the Bahamas for high school in San Diego, then later Arizona, where he became a college phenom and the obvious #1 draft pick. At every level he was the biggest and most talented player on the floor. Dominance was assumed. So was stardom. That's a lot to carry for a teenager, Michael Thompson reflected. Everyone keeps telling you you're great, but few people help you understand what it takes to stay great. That's where a lot of young big men get lost. And for Ayton, some of that got lost in translation. When he entered the NBA in 2018, the game was already shifting away from traditional centers. Teams wanted versatility, rim protection, spacing, qualities Ayton had in flashes, but hadn't yet mastered. The game was faster, more demanding, more mental than ever before. Still, Ayton adjusted. Slowly. Quietly. His rookie season was solid, nearly 17 points and 10 rebounds per game. But the excitement that followed Doncic and Trae Young, drafted just behind him, overshadowed his steady progress. Even as he improved, the perception lingered, good but not great. Sometimes being good isn't enough when people expect greatness, Michael said. And that pressure eats at you if you don't have the right support system. That pressure became more visible during Ayton's years in Phoenix. There were conflicts with coaches, whispers of poor effort and visible lapses in focus during games. At times, he looked like a dominant force, particularly during the 2021 playoff run. At other times, he faded into the background. Consistency, not talent, was the issue. It's not a question of ability, Michael reiterated. It's a question of will. And that's the lesson Ayton has been forced to learn, perhaps the hard way. Talent alone isn't enough in the NBA. It never has been. To succeed, to win, to become a foundational player, you need more. You need discipline, hunger, daily work, and above all, humility. In many ways, joining the Lakers is Ayton's second education. The roster around him, filled with veterans like LeBron James and players who've clawed their way up the league, offers something Ayton hasn't always had: examples to follow. Being around LeBron especially can change you, Michael said. The way he approaches film, preparation, rest, it's a masterclass in professionalism. If Deandre watches and listens, he'll grow. Already there are signs of that shift. Ayton has begun training earlier. His conditioning has improved. Coaches note his communication has become sharper, more focused. And he's asking questions, lots of them, about schemes, matchups, rotations. For the first time in a long time, he seems fully invested in becoming more than a talented player. He seems determined to become a complete one. That growth won't erase the past, but it can reframe it. The stumbles, the doubt, the inconsistent years, they become chapters in a longer story. A story of learning, adapting, and rising again. Sometimes the journey takes longer than expected, Michael said. But what matters is where you end up, not how long it took to get there. Ayton's past has shaped him. The criticism, the pressure, the comparisons, all of it has forged a tougher, wiser version of himself. And if he truly embraces those lessons, his future could be brighter than ever imagined. Because redemption isn't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about showing how much stronger you've become because of it. As training camp ramped up and the Lakers' preseason began to take shape, it became clear that Deandre Ayton wasn't just being asked to play a position. He was being asked to evolve. Gone were the days where he was expected to be the offensive centerpiece or put up 20 points a night. In Los Angeles, Ayton's value would be measured by impact, not volume. And that meant learning to thrive in a role that, while less glamorous, was arguably more important. "Look, we don't need him to be the focal point of the offense," said one Lakers assistant coach. "We need him to be the spine of our defense and the motor on the glass. If he does that, everything else falls into place." For some players, especially former number 1 picks, that kind of shift might bruise the ego. But for Ayton, it seemed to do the opposite. There was a visible shift in his posture, his attitude. He looked lighter, freer. As if, for the first time in years, he didn't have to prove anything except that he belonged. "People forget how much pressure comes with being the top pick," Michael Thompson said. "Every time you step on the court, people expect dominance. When you fall short of that, they question everything." But now, he's in a role where he can focus on playing hard, not proving something. And that's exactly what Ayton began doing. In scrimmages, he was vocal on defense. He sprinted back in transition. He boxed out with purpose. He was no longer chasing touches, he was chasing impact. It didn't go unnoticed. "DeAndre's energy has been contagious," Lakers head coach said during a media session. "He's taken the challenge seriously. He knows we need him to be a force, not just offensively but as a presence on the court at all times. That presence, particularly on defense, is what could elevate the Lakers from a playoff team to a legitimate championship contender. While the offense flows through Luka, LeBron, and the perimeter shooters, Ayton is the one tasked with protecting the rim, cleaning up the glass, and making sure opposing bigs don't find easy looks. It's a demanding job. It's not always glamorous, but it's vital. And Ayton is beginning to own it. There's a certain pride that comes with doing the dirty work," Michael said. "Blocking shots, diving for rebounds, altering shots without fouling. Those are game-changing plays. And I think DeAndre's starting to love that responsibility. Still, the evolution isn't just physical, it's mental. For Ayton, understanding the flow of the game, recognizing defensive rotations early, and maintaining focus for full quarters are just as important as his size and skill. His teammates have taken note too. "He's locked in," one veteran Laker said. "He's asking the right questions, watching extra film. It's like he knows this is his moment, and he's not letting it slip." It's a new identity for Ayton. No longer the young star trying to validate his draft status. No longer the frustrated offensive option in a system that didn't suit him. Now he's the guy doing exactly what the team needs, anchoring the paint, bringing energy, and delivering consistency. And while the media still buzzes with comparisons, to Doncic, to past big men, to the ghost of what he should have been, Ayton seems content silencing those voices with action. "There's no need to say much," Michael said. "Let the hustle speak. Let the effort speak. Let the wins speak." Because in the end, identity in the NBA isn't always about points per game or all-star nods. Sometimes it's about reinvention. Sometimes it's about sacrificing the spotlight for the bigger picture. And sometimes, that's what leads to the most lasting kind of respect. Ayton is building something new in Los Angeles, not just a reputation but a foundation. Not just for this season but for the next phase of his career. And if he continues down this path, he won't just be a role player. He'll be indispensable. The NBA regular season had officially begun, and with it, so had Deandre Ayton's real test. Training camp and preseason scrimmages were one thing, but now the lights were on, the crowds were roaring, and every possession truly counted. There was no more room for projection or speculation. This was the proving ground. Opening night saw the Lakers in a high-profile matchup. The kind of game that drew millions of eyes, especially with stars like Luka Doncic and LeBron James on the court. But as tip-off approached, the attention turned, subtly but noticeably, to the man in the middle. How would Ayton respond? The answer came quickly. From the opening quarter, he established his presence in the paint, not by scoring but by owning the space. He blocked a shot on the first defensive possession, ran the floor hard, set tough screens and grabbed rebounds in traffic. The stats were solid, but the energy was undeniable. He was active, said the broadcast crew. You can see the urgency in his game. That urgency had been missing at times in his past. But now, wearing the Lakers jersey, Ayton looked reborn. Like a player who understood that every game mattered, that every minute on the court was an opportunity to shift the narrative. And shift it he did. By the end of the first week of games, Ayton wasn't leading the league in scoring or even making highlight reels. But he was winning over the coaching staff, his teammates, and even some of his former critics. He's bought in, one scout noted. He's not chasing shots. He's chasing stops. That's what the Lakers had hoped for when they brought him in. A big man who could dominate his area of responsibility, control the glass, and anchor a defense that could withstand playoff-level intensity. Ayton's transformation wasn't just statistical, it was attitudinal. There were moments where, in years past, he might have sulked after a missed opportunity or a lack of offensive involvement. But now he responded with energy, with communication, with hustle. That kind of shift doesn't go unnoticed. You can tell when a player's head is in the right place, LeBron James said during a post-game interview. Da's out there competing. That's all we ask. Even the home crowd, famously tough in Los Angeles, began warming to Ayton. Chants of Ayton broke out after a series of consecutive stops in a tightly contested game. It wasn't just about what he was doing, it was about how he was doing it. There was passion. There was purpose. There was pride. Of course, not every game was perfect. There were lapses, a late foul here, a missed rotation there. But what mattered most was the effort to correct them. The old criticisms, passive, inconsistent, disengaged, were beginning to fade, replaced by a different picture. That of a focused, locked-in professional determined to make this work. And perhaps the biggest sign of Ayton's evolution came during a late fourth-quarter timeout. The Lakers were up by just 3 points. The opposing team was gaining momentum. Everyone gathered at the bench. And Ayton, not LeBron or Luka, was the one who spoke first. "Let's get this stop," he said loudly, clearly, and with command. It wasn't a dramatic speech. It wasn't a moment destined to go viral. But it mattered. Because for Ayton, it symbolized more than leadership. It symbolized ownership. He wasn't just filling a role now. He was investing in it. He's learning that being a star doesn't always mean taking the last shot, Michael Thompson said. Sometimes it means taking responsibility. As the season progressed, the Lakers began to click. Their defensive ratings improved. Their rebounding numbers climbed. And in the heart of it all stood Ayton, not the franchise savior, not the first option, but a critical pillar of the team's identity. This was the proving ground, and Ayton wasn't just surviving it. He was claiming it. As the season unfolded, Deandre Ayton's journey with the Lakers began to crystallize into something beyond just basketball. It became a story of redemption, growth, and the quest to redefine legacy. The bright lights of Los Angeles were no longer a source of pressure. They were a stage, and Ayton was learning how to perform under their glare. The arc of his season was marked by steady improvement. His minutes increased as coaches trusted him more. His defensive presence was often the difference in close games. More importantly, he found balance, contributing efficiently on offense without forcing plays, while anchoring a defense that leaned on his physicality and instincts. It was a transformation that even longtime observers found remarkable. "He's a different player," said an analyst during a mid-season broadcast. "More focused, more disciplined, more mature. You see a guy who's embraced the grind, the team-first mentality. That mentality extended off the court too." Ayton became involved in community events, visiting youth centers, and engaging with Lakers fans. His humility and work ethic made him a favorite in the locker room, bridging gaps between young players and veterans. Yet, this new identity wasn't without its challenges. The Lakers faced tough opponents, and Ayton had to navigate moments of adversity, games where shots didn't fall, nights where the defense faltered, and the inevitable pressures of expectations that never fully go away in LA. Through it all, the lessons from his past echoed in his mind. Talent is a starting point, but resilience and consistency build careers. The journey wasn't just about proving critics wrong, it was about proving to himself that he belonged at the highest level. One defining moment came late in the season during a critical matchup against a top Western Conference rival. The game was tense, physical, and fiercely contested. Ayton's impact was undeniable: 15 rebounds, multiple key blocks, and crucial buckets down the stretch. But beyond the stats, it was his demeanor that stood out. Calm under pressure, vocal on defense, and leading by example. The crowd erupted after a pivotal defensive stop where Ayton's effort sparked a fast break leading to a game-winning three-pointer. "That's the guy we drafted first overall," Michael Thompson said with a proud smile. Not just the player with raw talent, but the leader who carries his team. As the season neared its climax, Ayton's story resonated beyond the hardwood. It became a testament to the power of second chances and the importance of embracing one's role, however it may change over time. The Lakers fans, once skeptical, had embraced him as one of their own. Media narratives shifted from doubt to respect. And most importantly, Ayton himself had found peace in his new identity. His journey was far from over, but the foundation was set. With a renewed sense of purpose and belonging, Deandre Ayton was no longer just a player trying to prove his worth. He was a vital part of a storied franchise's quest for glory. And in Los Angeles, that means everything.